Welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope those that came out to the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday enjoyed it. We had great weather, and we had about 30 to 40,000 people there watching the parade, and I hope all in Morris Avenue in Union. I know I had fun walking on Morris Avenue behind the Grand Marshal Jim Tanzi. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On March 20th, which is Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be at a Dare Day celebration at school number 7 on 436 First Avenue. Following that event, I'm going to attend a phenomenal women program during Women's History Month at the Stephen Sampson Senior Center located at 800 Anna Street. And if you want more information on this event, please call Troy Hudson at 820-4706. Later that afternoon, I'm going to be at the Brother Bonaventure Center at Trinitas Regional Medical Center located at 655 East Jersey Street. And on Saturday of this week, I'll join the Department of Recreation for the annual Easter egg hunt located at Carteret Park and Elmore Avenue and Vine Street. This event will feature free candy and prizes. Bring your camera if you want pictures with the Easter Bunny. All are invited to the Department of Recreation's Easter egg hunt at 9:30 in the morning at Carteret Park. And if you can't make that one, we got a second one at 12:30 in the afternoon at the Kellogg Park, located in the north end part of town on North Avenue and Madison Avenue, and that one starts at 12:30. If you want any information concerning these Easter egg hunts or any other events going around the city of Elizabeth, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4222. If you need more information, please call 820-4124 or the other number for the Easter egg hunts. This week's show is dedicated in the beginning for the first half for diabetes awareness. And I'm pleased to be joined by Miss Kathy McCarthy, a registered nurse and the program coordinator of the Diabetes Management Program. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And Mr. Michael Johnson, a director of Association Initiatives at the YMCA of Eastern Union County. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, thank you, Mayor.
You know, I'm happy that you were able to talk with us today about diabetes, its dangers, how it can be prevented, how it can be managed. As a registered nurse and a certified diabetes educator, the program coordinator of the management program at Trinitas Regional Medical Center, if it looks as though Trinitas and the YMCA have partnered on important health education effort, and Mike, why is the program being held, first of all? Tell us about it.
Well, on Tuesday, March 26th, is the National Diabetes Alert Day, and the YMCA of Eastern Union County, along with Trinitas Regional Medical Center, is going to be collaborating. Our goal is to raise awareness for diabetes, for both diabetes and pre-diabetes. Currently, with the statistics, the statistics are pretty staggering. About 26 million people have diabetes right now, and another 79 million have pre-diabetes. And those with pre-diabetes, most people don't even know they have pre-diabetes. And if a lifestyle change is not undertaken right away or very, very soon, with approximately about 10 years, you'll have more cases of those with type 2 diabetes.
Kathy, has there been a dramatic change in the number of people who suffer from diabetes?
Absolutely. It's staggering. It really is. If current trends continue by the year 2050, 1 out of every 3 Americans will be a diabetic. 1 out of every 2 Hispanics will also be a diabetic. And our numbers are just growing, and it's a very insidious disease. You don't feel it, you feel a little tired, so you blame it on other things. I'm getting older, I'm getting this, when in reality, you're sick, and people don't realize it. They don't make their way to the doctor because they don't feel that bad. And typically, they've had diabetes for 10 years prior to diagnosis.
Why 1 out of 2 Hispanics? Is there a genetic marker or something?
Absolutely. Genetics plays a big part. And there's totem pole. Alaskans and Eskimos and Native Americans are at the very top, followed by blacks, followed by Hispanics, and then Caucasians and Asians in between.
Now, Kathy, in a personal situation, I went and what the doctor told me was the 9-month or the 1-year marker on something in my blood said it was a little bit elevated. So I lost some weight and it's kind of gone away. But is that the marker that you talked about where,
Hemoglobin A1C.
yeah, something, the A1C, right?
Yes,
Is that the
A1C.
marker that people, as you said, don't even know it?
Right. Well, now we have the hemoglobin A1C to diagnose with. That just came about in the last few years. Prior to that, they relied on fasting glucose and postprandial glucose after you had had a meal, and then they would check it 2 hours later. Now they have the A1C, which is wonderful. It goes back for the last 3 months and gives you an average sugar, and with that, it's a better tool to pick up people that are diabetics.
Yeah, because it's interesting because my sugar was never over 90,
Yeah.
but
Well,
the
after you
A1C,
ate.
yeah. Well,
There's-
never know anything in the morning, yeah, but after you eat it would go higher naturally.
Correct. There are, some people have trouble with fasting sugars, and other people have trouble after they consume a meal. So to just look at the one aspect, the fasting blood sugar, doesn't tell you the whole picture.
Is it hereditary?
Absolutely.
It is.
It tends to run in families, but there are people that have no history of it in their family that come down with diabetes.
Now, Mike, as a member of the Y, you naturally deal with a lot of issues that affect and government, political issues, as well as how the Y deals with people. What do you think the thing going on in New York City? I think last week was the ban on changing behaviors in big soft drinks and the performance of soft drinks. Working in the Y, you must see a lot of people with big bottles of soda. I mean, how does it tie in? Does it help? Or do you think it's the right thing to do?
Boy, with that ban, it's a little confusing also. It's not applied throughout the whole city. The ban applies to restaurants, some fast food establishments, office cafeterias. It doesn't apply to supermarkets and some chain, like chains like 7-Elevens and such. So it's a little confusing right
Big
there.
helps.
When you look at it, there's a couple things you have to look at. One, the person's right to choose, and also just the rising obesity levels also too, because obesity is also not a precursor, but it's very parallel to diabetes and type 2 diabetes. I actually applaud the mayor's effort. I know it's got a lot of media press, but unfortunately, when something is initiated the first time, it might not be the most appropriate or the most correct. If in a clinical setting, I think it could work. In a non-clinical setting, no. So, for example, suppose someone routinely buys 32 ounces of a soft drink and it's 400 calories. All right, well, now it's 16 ounces and it's 200 calories. Well, theoretically, if everything else is staying the same, and everything else is fixed, it's a reduction of 200 calories per day. Over the course of about 2 weeks, that's about a pound. You lose weight, that also helps reduce your chance of developing type 2 diabetes. But that's if a person's dietary is still the same, their physical activity is still the same, so there's too many other control factors that take into play. And there's nothing stopping from that individual to buying a second 16-ouncer or a third 16-ouncer.
I was going to say, yeah, they could go back and buy another one, right? Instead of buying.
So the accumulation of calories may be even more than what they were previously taking in. But then again, I could see his point of view about trying to restrict calories for obesity. I applaud it, but I don't think there's so many things to look for obesity. Not just caloric restriction, but physical activity, the contents of your food, lean meats. So there's many more things other than just drinking too much
And
soda.
the Y is big on physical activity, as we all know, right? I mean, the Y focuses on physical activity, and a lot of gyms that you have in different Ys.
Oh, absolutely. The overall lifestyle change, too, yeah, of regular checkups, dietary restriction, your composition of food. It should be good quality food, very colorful food, physical activity. All that plays a part in the obesity.
Kathy, are we seeing more in children or teenagers?
Absolutely.
And is it because of obesity that Michael just talked about?
They say that it may be the obesity and the factor that they're sedentary. Kids play on computers, they're playing with their little electronic gadgets, and they're not really out playing basketball and riding their bikes and getting a lot of activity. They're driven everywhere they go, and so their exercise levels are much less. And then you factor in the junk food.
So in teenagers, are we seeing type 2 diabetes, or are we seeing the juvenile diabetes?
No. Juvenile diabetes is pretty much the same. The type 2 diabetes, which used to be an older person's
Right.
disease, is skyrocketing, and now it is affecting children. And what's frightening about that is we know what type 2 diabetes does to someone that gets it when they're 60 or they're 70, and we know it can be catastrophic.
But you also can manage it.
Yeah, you can manage it, absolutely, but if they let it go, it can be catastrophic. Well, think about a child that gets it when they're in their teens or they're 20, and they have to live with it for all these years, and kids being kids, they think they're resilient, nothing will hurt them. You have to get them to take it really seriously and understand that, the consequences.
So you've been a nurse a while, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you've seen the development in managing diabetes. I mean, people can wear a pump now on their waist.
Oh, pumps are wonderful.
Yeah, and if you can manage that, do you eventually see a point where you can put something in your system where if your sugar drops automatically, it will insert the insulin?
I
see that happening at
believe
some
that
point?
we're going to see a lot of changes in the world of diabetes because there's so much money being poured into it because it's an epidemic. And something's got to be done about it, and they're taking it very seriously. There are a lot of programs, a lot of grants, to do diabetes research, so we'll be seeing a lot of nice things come down the pipe.
Yeah, I was fascinated by a friend of mine has the pump, and he just hits the button and...
Oh, it's great. The only downside to the pump is you can gain weight because you can go to a wedding and you see a piece of cake and you see another one and you just throw a little more insulin in there. So that's the danger of the pump. But other than that, it gives you freedom. You're not tied to that insulin injection that you took in the morning and you have to eat to cover, make sure your sugar stays adequate. So it gives you freedom.
When you see someone following the rules and paying attention, it must give you great
it's wonderful.
amount of success as a nurse, right?
It's wonderful. And a lot of people do. They come and they do as they're told. I see pregnant women. I see older people. I've seen kids in their 20s. I don't typically see children with juvenile diabetes. But if they do the changes, they're so grateful. They come back and they're happy and they're like, wow, I've been trying to do this, and it's very satisfying.
But it takes time though too, and a lot of people just don't. It's like little tiny steps.
Oh, absolutely, baby steps.
Absolutely.
I thank the two of you for taking the time to join us on the show. Mike, real quick, when we break for the segment, where's the date again and the event?
Sure. Tuesday, March 26th. It's going to be held at Trinitas Regional Medical Center at the Medical Office Building.
Correct.
We'll be there with a few other facilities as well, and the whole purpose is to raise awareness for diabetes, both diabetes and pre-diabetes.
10 a.m., 2 p.m.
Thank you. Kathy, thank you, Michael, for taking the time to join us on the show. And for the second half, I'm going to be joined by Michelle Ali, a registered dietitian, and Nicholas Brooks, the executive chef of Williamson Street campus, talking about National Nutrition Month, which also plays into what Mike and Kathy just talked about. Stay with us after these messages.